Morning, everyone. August 3rd, 2020. Tis Monday, the long weekend in Canada, I believe in the US too. Shakespeare Sonnet 133. This is fun. Okay, so Shakespeare's still prattling on about his Dark Lady, but the number 3 and the number 3 are very important here. And Patterson, it's so much fun reading this stuff. So, one of the summations is quite simple. Shakespeare has realized that his beloved youth is also in love with the Dark Lady. And so his friend is in love with the woman he's in love with, who is his mistress, and he feels that it's a triple loss. 133. See where we're going here. Well, this calls back to sonnets 40 to 42 and 34 to 35. Now, Patterson continues with this conversation, and he says, of course, yes, Shakespeare's lamenting the fact that his soul's being ripped out by both the Dark Lady and by his beloved, and that he's sure they're having an affair. But what gets me, as Shakespeare goes on, as Patterson goes on to discuss all of this, he talks about the relationship between the words slavery comes up a few times in the sonnet, which of course today we can look back on and see the term a little differently when you're talking about people of color and imprisoned. So there is some supposition that Shakespeare was referencing the knowledge of slavery. It wasn't active. It's still obviously an active, reprehensible behavior today, but it was back then as well, but maybe not seen as reprehensible. But Shakespeare is credited by Patterson, and this is incredible. He goes on to talk about how Shakespeare has planned both the Dark Lady and the beloved youth sequences from the very beginning, that Shakespeare knew he was going to do exactly 154 sonnets, that when he was doing 40 to 42 that he had 133 in mind. And as I look at the Patterson piece on my Kindle right now, he's talking about the fact that Shakespeare's hyperbole, the ninefold torment, sexual enslavement, slavery, jealousy, double jealousy, etc., etc. He gets the number 3 times 3, 133. Get it? See there? But why the 90 sonnet gap between 40 and 42 and 133? And why it's filled in this way is something that Patterson actually struggles with a little bit. And it's quite incredible to see the amount of scholarship that goes into thinking about what Shakespeare was thinking in terms of the numerical order and the theme of all of these sonnets. It's an excellent sonnet. So let me do it justice, if I may. Beshrew that heart that makes my heart to groan, for that deep wound it gives my friend and me. Isn't not enough to torture me alone, but slave to slavery my sweetest friend must be. Me from myself that cruel eye hath taken, and my next self thou harder hast engrossed. Of him, myself, and thee I am forsaken. A torment thrice threefold thus to be crossed. Prison my heart in thy steel bosom's ward, but then my friend's heart let my poor heart bail. Whoever keeps me, let my heart be his guard. Thou canst not then use rigor in my jail. And yet thou wilt, for I, being pent in thee, perforce am thine, and all that is in me. Thank you. See you tomorrow.